What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Fatboyz Dynasty Podcast, presented by the Fantasy Holics Podcast Network, live on the Fantasy Holics Podcast Network YouTube channel. I'm Bo. That is Brant. Brant, we made it. We battled all off season. We made it. We're less than 24 hours from kickoff of a very, very beautiful NFL season. I'm overly excited. I also know how short the season's going to be in retrospect, but I can't wait for just the sweating, the lineups every week, sweating your plays every week, just every single ounce of it, cheering on your favorite team. The food, of course, obviously that's going to get brought up on here, Brant. We've made it. It's been a long off season. What say you, sir?
Oh, yeah, it's here. I've been flipping through the old TikTok and getting some recipes and everything ready for Sunday. I've already told the kids, hey, we'll have a great spread. My Seahawks play at 3 o'clock, so we'll get our spread going. It's here. It's food time. It's football time. I mean, what better way to kick it off than you get a Thursday? You get a Thursday, Friday NFL game, a huge college football slate on Saturday, and then Sunday and Monday. Oof. That Sunday and Monday night games are looking phenomenal. We'll talk about that here shortly, but it's here. It's a beautiful, beautiful week. We did get a little taste of it last week with the college football running a 5-day spread, and now we get it here. It's officially time.
Yeah, and I did throw this up on the screen while you were talking. I don't know if that distracted you or not, but Tony asked if we are going to be doing our Sunday morning show. Every Sunday we'll be here, Tony. Going to do at least an hour again this year, maybe longer, depending on, we want to make sure we get a chance to answer everybody. So, yes, we will be live every Sunday starting this Sunday doing our thing, talking food, underdog plays of the week, and, of course, helping people get their lineups right, talking about weather issues. We will be there every Sunday all season long.
Right there, gonna battle with you guys early in the morning, getting it through. And that's one of our favorite things to look forward to. We talk about how some of these casts are great and everything, but we love that Sunday morning, the interaction with everybody. Be sure to join us. Put the word out to. I would tell you to put it out to your league mates, but you kind of want to keep that leg up on them, Tony. So let other people know to join us.
Yep, absolutely. So of course we've got this Thursday night contest. That you mentioned, a massive division rivalry in the Eagles and Cowboys. And then it's Brazil night two on Friday for the Chiefs and Chargers. So definitely, some juicy stuff to talk about there. And Brant, I kind of told you backstage before the show started, before we went live, that I had something special I wanted to talk to you about. Now, I'm going to defer to you because you also have something for this episode in some stashes that you want people to go out and add. So I'm going to ask you, do you want to do your 2 stashes first, or do you want to do my thing?
Yeah, I'll do the 2 stashes because one of them I want to make sure I get out right now and as early as possible, because Will Shipley is a stash that you need to go. He's listed as number 2 on the depth chart there for the Philadelphia Eagles. If something were to happen to Saquon Barkley, this is a guy you don't want to wait for waivers. This will be the number 1 waiver pickup if something happens. Will Shipley's a guy that you need to add, put on your bench, put him at the bottom of your bench, and just wait and see. He's an easy drop if something, each week he's an easy drop for you to add and rotate. And then the other one is DJ Giddens over there in Indianapolis. If something, we saw how much they lean on Jonathan Taylor at the end of the year. And I really think that Giddens could be that guy if something were to happen. These are 2 guys you want to put at the bottom of your bench and stash.
Now, on the DJ Giddens ones, I do want to say they did come out today. Tyler Goodson, I believe his name is, did practice for the first time in a while. They say that RB2 spot's still completely wide open there in Indy. So you may want to wait on that one for another week just to see, or maybe potentially week 1, because hopefully Jonathan Taylor doesn't get hurt week 1. Maybe right. Time to see who that clear number 2 is to go, snag up and move on from there. All right, Brant, you have no idea where I'm going right now. I've got 10 names written for you, 10 names written down for you. These are guys that there was a ton of off-season and preseason hype surrounding, some later in the window than earlier. Some of these are going to be slam dunks and layups for you. Some of them, I think they're genuinely going to be things where you're going to have to do some head scratching and tell me how you feel. I will also tell you how I feel about these players, but I'm going to let you go first each time since I have the advantage of knowing who the names are and you don't. But I'm going to ask, Brant, are you jumping on the hype train and riding it all the way to championships and fantasy? Or are you going to slowly stand on the platform and maybe wait and see what it looks like the first couple go rounds before you jump on it. All right. I'm gonna start off with what I feel like is a pretty easy layup for you, because this is a guy you've talked about several different times, but there's a lot of hype surrounding him this year and his offense. A lot of new faces in this city, but I'm going to talk about Justin Fields at the quarterback position for the New York Jets first. How you feeling on him this year? You on board with the train or not?
I am on board with this train. We just did a vampire draft for our work, and I definitely waited, and I grabbed him late. I do. I think the rushing upside is there fantasy wise. I don't think he's going to turn the Jets into all of a sudden division contenders or anything else like that. But I think that rushing upside, Garrett Wilson being there, Mason Taylor, is that the new tight end there? I do think that, and Braylon Allen, which you and me have talked about. I'm going to leave Brees Hall out because everyone knows that name. Braylon Allen's another guy that I really think is going to help him out. I think it's going to really open it up and allow him to run that RPO. And I'm jumping all over this train here.
Now, let me ask you this. There was news about Jason Vera-Tucker, I believe the starting guard for the New York Jets. He may be a tackle, but he may miss a significant amount of time, was the news that came out today. Does that scare you off of Justin Fields at all, missing a cornerstone lineman?
No, because he's probably going to have to rush a little more to get out of there a little faster. It's like Michael Parsons back in Dallas, where last year Dallas was like the second most rushed on defense. Why? Because quarterbacks had to get away from Parsons, so this could just be even more yards for him.
Okay, all right. I wouldn't say cautiously optimistic. I'm cautiously watching this one. Fields under center was never super great for fantasy in Chicago. It was never super great in Pittsburgh. So I kind of want to wait and see what this looks like. Again, like you said, I think this team's going to be not great, and I don't know how that works for Justin Fields long term. I don't think there's any succession plan in place, so I think he's going to start a full 17-game slate for the Jets. So there is value in that I don't think there's anybody breathing down his neck. But I'm gonna sit back and wait a week or two on Fields and see just exactly what that offseason or that first couple of weeks of the season look like with Fields. I'm not quite there. All right, Brant. Again, I'm going to kind of feed you some fastballs here before I, go chasing with the off-speed stuff. But George Pickens, how are you feeling about him? Moves to Dallas, new offense. They're talking about a coaching philosophy difference between Mike Tomlin and now that of Brian Schottenheimer, where the ball is going to be aired out. There's no real run game in Dallas, whereas the run game in Pittsburgh was always the priority. So passing came second. Now he was the wide receiver 1 in Pittsburgh. He is the 2 in Dallas. What are your thoughts on George Pickens? Are you on the hype train or off?
I'm on the platform right here. I know when he first went, I was all about it. And then, they never really add. I honestly believe they were going to add a back somewhere to really, be able to open up that run game. And they never did. So I'm standing back on this platform now. I'm watching. Yes, I think the passing game is going to be so much better. It's going to be outstanding for him. But can he get on the same page, and will he be able to survive with 5 to 6 targets a game with CD on the other side? So I'm going to stand on the platform here. I do think that he's in a better situation, but will he be able to survive in that situation with some of the attitude and everything else that we have seen in the past? And the fact you losing your defense and you're going to have to score so much to keep up. Can he deal with losing that much in Dallas possibly? Because they're not in no cakewalk division. It's not like he's just, and I know he's coming from, with Pittsburgh and Baltimore and Cincy and all that there in Cleveland, but you still get Washington and Philly twice a year. And the Giants defense really isn't anything to sleep on. They're actually very serviceable. So we just have to see how he is. And I'm going to stand on that platform and watch it for a little bit.
Yeah, I'm so far away from the train station on this one, Brant, because I have a feeling it could derail at any minute. And I don't want to get taken out by it. I'm not a huge George Pickens fan. I wasn't in Pittsburgh either. And then you go into a offense that had, I want to say somewhere in the neighborhood of 106 vacated targets is what I looked at from last year. And if you look at the names that left, I mean, it's going to be very clear where a lot of these passes go. Rico Dowdle out the door, Michael Gallup out the door, right? So I think there is going to be, a small sliver of the pie, but I don't expect to see 100+ targets for George Pickens. And at the current price he's going, I just can't get on board with the ticket, man. I'm going the opposite way. I'll walk to my destination. I'm not riding the Pickens train.
Okay.
All right. Here's my other last little bit of straight heat right down the middle. I'll tell you it's coming. Swing away at the fences. Darren Waller. You buying in on the Darren Waller?
No. Oh, I'm not. He'll probably retire in 3 games. No, I'm gonna hang out with you and your George Pickens over here, and I'm not even getting near that train right now. No, I'm not. I can't.
And I know it's we are mice to cheese in the fantasy industry when it comes to, oh my gosh, a player just signed and they're unowned in every league possible. Everybody wants to rush out. Amari Cooper was the same way. Everybody goes out and grabs these guys when we really have no damn clue what it's going to look like, right? We haven't seen Darren Waller play football for 2 years now, and even then it wasn't great 2 years ago. So it'll be really interesting to see how he meshes in Miami. Now the problem is, obviously that tight end position has a little value in Miami because Jonnu Smith was pretty darn great. I think he was tight end 4 last year in that offense. So it will be interesting to see how that tight end position shakes out. But I will say this: I'm also running in the opposite direction on Darren Waller, just because
you're not running.
I'm rolling down a hill away from Darren Waller. I want no part of it. I just think, I don't even think it's fun, honestly. Like, you're talking about a guy who's not in football shape, signs late into the offseason, has to rush to get through football shape, except for he can't play in the preseason because he's banged up. So, right. Yeah, I don't know what to say about this, but if you are in a league where you're potentially starting Darren Waller, there's got to be 17 better options out on the waiver wire, and I'd be looking at some of those really quick.
Probably all 17.
Yes. All right, Brent, here's another one. I know where this is going for you. I am in the opposite direction on this one, so I want to see your justification for Ricky Pearsall.
I'm all aboard this hype train. I think he's going to be the number 1 guy there in San Francisco. I think he's going to be a target monster to begin the season. I know Jennings has been banged up on a new contract. Debo's gone. Ayuk's banged up. I know George Kittle is probably going to be the leader in the clubhouse of receptions, but Pearsall, I think his fantasy value is going through the roof right now. And I do think now, come talk to me in about 6-7 weeks, and I might be singing a different tune of selling him. But right now, I think it's through the roof, and this is a guy that you can ride for the first couple weeks and then possibly ship him off for something better, or that chemistry could start to really show if you start to see it, really go in the first 6 weeks. He could just take off the whole year. I'm all aboard that one. Choo, all aboard.
All right, so I'm working on pulling it up, but on Roto World, there is an article published by a beat writer who does intimately covers the 49ers, and his name's Vic Tarfer. I don't know Vic. I don't know Vic's work. He does work for The Athletic, which, that is what it is. He came out and said the hype in the offseason surrounding Ricky Pearsall is premature. When you've got a beat writer covering the team that watches them more in the offseason, pays attention to the surroundings more than I certainly do with the 49ers, coming out and saying, hey, this hype train stuff may be a little premature. That scares me a little bit, Brant. I mean, there's not really any, game film necessarily to back it up. He had a couple games last year where it was like, okay, this kid could be all right, but nothing like crazy. And then you've got Juwan Jennings, who's banged up, and George Kittle. So it's like, yeah, it should be. There's no way in my mind that week 1, Brock Purdy doesn't target CMC and George Kittle, like a 65% target share between the two of them. I'm not out on Ricky Pearsall, but I'm certainly not all in. I'm not drafting him above ADP at this point if I've still got a draft left to do, and I'm not aggressively looking to make a trade offer for him. Now, that being on the platform, I may miss my opportunity if he has 2 back-to-back 30-point games week 1 and 2. I'm not going to be able to afford him at a reasonable price. So, but for me, I was leaning more towards I'll get on the train and tuck and roll and jump if I have to, until I saw that article today. So does that change anything for you?
He's going to be a bum week 1 when he plays Seattle. I'll tell you that right now. He's going to be a bum against that secondary.
Absolutely.
Gonna be biased. No, it's still not gonna trade it. I don't know where the targets outside of Kittle and CMC are going to go. And yes, you're probably right. It probably will be a 65% target share for those two. But that's still, another 35 out there for him. And that might be the 100%.
And Juwan Jennings.
If he plays, might be Jacob Crowling, or I think was the other guy's name there.
All right. I'm going to jump in and answer this one from Tony. He says RJ Harvey worth all the hype he's getting this fantasy season. Before we jump back into the other ones, what are your thoughts on RJ Harvey?
I think this is going to be such a committee to start the season, and I think it's going to be feed the hot hand. I like Dobbins. These are both of the two that I am on the platform I'm watching. I'm praying that maybe Dobbins can. I guess it depends on what league I'm looking to win in, because I think I got to start Dobbins in one league and Harvey in another. I think you're going to see this end up being that was Kamara and Jamal Williams whenever he was in New Orleans. I think that's what he's hoping to get out of this, which are both fantasy relevant, but I think it's going to take a little bit of time for Harvey to adjust to that type of role. So I do think I think I'm staying on the platform on that one.
Yeah, Tony, I'll be honest with you. I'm all aboard the RJ Harvey hype train. I said in the offseason prior to the draft and everything else, getting into the draft prep, and then after his draft, his spot was pretty juicy. This guy has a shot to be this year's Bucky Irving. He really does. He has a very similar skill set, very shifty, good hands out of the backfield, very quick. Probably going to struggle with pass blocking a little initially in the NFL, which, Sean Payton's a coach's coach. You're going to have to do all aspects well to get yourself on the field a lot. But I do think the value is there for RJ Harvey. This is not a guy that's being necessarily overdrafted yet. I don't think the hype train's got him into a spot where the ADP is disgusting. So for me at current value, I definitely am all aboard the RJ Harvey train at this point. All right, Brent, back to this one, and I will stick with a rookie who's gotten some traction here in the last couple of weeks. Ollie Gordon for the Miami Dolphins. Are you at all interested in him with Achan's injury, or are you saying, yeah, even if Achan's banged up, it's still not going to be Ollie Gordon's time to shine?
I was never completely sold on Achan being a workhorse back. Yes, he is that guy that's going to get, with 12 carries in a game, he could end up with 27 fantasy points. He is that type of player. So I do think that Ollie Gordon is relevant. I think Jalen Wright's banged up. I think he may be starting on the IR. I could be wrong there, but I am very interested in Ollie Gordon. He's a guy that I'm stashing, and I'm not looking to throw him right in my lineup, but he is definitely a guy that late in drafts I'm definitely looking to grab. I think he will be very fantasy relevant. I mean, Achan, I don't think has played a full season. He's already banged up. If he misses any time and Jalen Wright's out, you're looking at Ollie Gordon being a full-blown workhorse because there's not a whole lot else back there.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, you already know, you personally know my love for Ollie Gordon. These people may not. Yeah, I think Ollie Gordon's got a clear path to being that salted away kind of guy. Like, second down and 3 yards, maybe let him take one up the gut and see what happens. I do think he'll be a change of pace, give Devon Achane, a breather. Maybe if the Dolphins offense gets back to being what it was 2 years ago and they're, quick, score a lot in a hurry, maybe he's the guy in the second half of the games that gets, 10, 15 touches to kill some clock. So I definitely think there's some Ollie Gordon value. And I think this is a player that if you get now and something does happen to Achan long-term, you might have stumbled into something there. So, all right, Brent, I got 2 more rookies here and then 3 veterans. So I'll let you be the deciding factor here. You want to go wide receiver, running back? Stick with the running back at the rookie.
Stick with the running back.
All right, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. This is the biggest offseason hype of any single player. It was building, and then it got even bigger head of steam when Brian Robinson got shipped out to San Francisco. What are your thoughts on Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, or as the people affectionately refer to him as Bill?
I'm probably not drafting him at his ADP. I am looking to grab him late in drafts. If he slides, I am going to. I don't think Eckler's at the age where he can withstand a full-blown workload. Rodriguez is extremely explosive and fun to watch, but I do think that there is a spot for Merritt or Bill. And I'm standing there and I'm hoping to grab as many shares as I can late in drafts, but I don't think with the ADP shot with all this hype, I don't think I can get on board with where he's going right now.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I'm on the fence. All right. Like, I don't necessarily want to pay the prices of the ADP necessarily. But some of the trades that have been out there for him, I think the trades are either super lopsided to where somebody's overpaying based on the hype, or they're kind of the fair market value. Fair market value for him right now, like a 2026 second round pick, that's worth a gamble to me at that price. I'm not going to pay any super high premium, but I think I would definitely kick the tires and see if I could get myself someplace. So yeah, I think we're unanimous on that one. So, all right. And then that leaves me the wide receiver out of Green Bay, first round talent, Matthew Golden. This is a guy who, the camp hype was unreal. He's never dropped the ball in practice. Okay, first day of full pads, he dropped like 2. Packers fans forget that. We are affectionately kind of wedged between Green Bay and Chicago fans where we're at. So, I know as many Bears fans as I do Packers fans. So, maybe this is playing into it. Maybe the hype's not as real outside of where you and I are currently at. But thoughts on Matthew Golden this year, Brant?
I like him. I think his ADP is, I don't think it's really gone up or down. I think it's been pretty relevant about in the middle of the pack. I think it's been ninth to 11th round ADP is where I think it has been. I have no shares of him in any dynasty, unfortunately. But I do believe the hype. Green Bay went out and spent high draft capital on him. They're banged up at the wide receiver, and I think they want to make this guy the go-to guy. So I'm buying in on this hype.
Okay. I am also buying in on the hype, Brant. I was a little bit out when he was wearing number 22 as a wide receiver, but he did switch his jersey number to 0. So I'm a little more, involved at this point than what I once was. But I think, Jordan Love is a very serviceable quarterback. He has shown that he likes to spread the ball out, right? You've got Christian Watson banged up to start the season. Jaden Reed has a Jones fracture in his foot that I think is actually going to end up being, almost a killer for him, which kind of just leaves Tucker Kraft, Luke Musgrave, Matthew Golden, and Romeo Dobbs. Dontavian Wicks too, excuse me. And I don't want to, throw shade at Dontavian Wicks. So it's all unproven outside of the tight end position. So I think, first round draft pick, I think he's going to get schemed for pretty early, pretty often. I think I like a lot of what we're going to see from Matthew Golden this year. I'm not saying he's a league winner, but at current ADP, he's certainly worth picking up.
Okay.
All right, another quick break. Tony's got one more. He says, with Ferguson playing tomorrow and likely third option in Dallas, him or Hunter Henry this week, Brant?
I think I'm going with Ferguson. I think they're going to have to air the ball out. They have no run game. Philly makes most teams abandon the run. And I will say his higher and lower for pass attempts is 36.5 for Dak Prescott. So I do think that they're going to be airing that ball out. I think I go with Ferguson.
Yeah, I think I'm leaning that way as well, Brant. I think Hunter Henry was fun last year for bits and pieces of the season, especially early. The over-under in this game is 47.5 points. So they're speculating some points to be put up on the board. And I'm of the believer that the Cowboys defense is going to be subpar this season. I think they're going to have to pass a lot in this contest. And I think that Jake Ferguson, CeeDee Lamb, and George Pickens benefit from it. Even though I'm out on George Pickens, I'd probably advocate starting him this week if it was close, just because I think Dak may throw 45 plus times. So yeah, I'm on board with that as well, Grant.
Okay.
All right. Kyler Murray, the short king. What are your thoughts on him this year? The hype was there that he's going to run more often. He's going to trust his guys more often, throw the deep ball more often. Are you buying in on Kyler Murray as a fantasy relevant quarterback this season or no?
I think he somehow sneaks into the top 12. And I think that's about where he is. I'm not buying in. I'm not looking to, if I punch on the quarterback till real late, yes, I'll take a flyer on Kyler Murray because of the rushing upside, but I'm not kicking any tires on trades. I'm not trying to dig myself into the Kyler Murray hole. I'm kind of out on him. If it falls in my lap, I guess that's what I'll go with. But I can think of 15 more options that I'd probably be happier with.
Okay. Yeah, I think I agree with you there too. This is one that if he's there and falls to a spot where I'm comfortable, maybe as a quarterback too, in single quarterback leagues, just to have that depth piece that potentially has high upside. But yeah, I think I agree with you, Brand. I think there's plenty of options I'd prefer to have over Kyler Murray. I think both these two are going to be unanimously agreeing on. I just had to bring both of them up. First one being Calvin Ridley. Again, Cam Ward's been more of the beneficiary of the hype, but obviously when you're the number one target in that offense, that's going to trickle down to you a little bit. How are you feeling on Calvin Ridley? Is this a season where you could see him get himself back into the top 12, or is someplace lower than that more the expectation for you?
I do see him in the top 20, so a little lower than the top 12. I do think he's going to be hyper targeted, but I think somebody else is going to emerge as a decent option there in Tennessee, whether it be Alec. Yep.
Alec Iamore.
Thank you. I had it right there. I was ready to say it. Just could not get it out.
I saw the confidence in your face, man. I saw it.
It just did not want to come out. Or be Chig. I do think there will be a valuable second option coming out. But I do think Calvin Ridley gets back on pace to be a top 20 wideout, and I do think he's a very valuable option to start in your wide receiver spots week in and week out.
Again, when you talk about the Tennessee Titans, this is another team that's going to struggle this year to put wins in the win column. Not that I don't think Cam Ward is going to be a consummate professional. I just think there's so many holes to fill on this team that I'm, not sure that I want that to whatever. But 150 targets from Cam Ward for Calvin Ridley is still going to be valuable.
I may have to bite the bullet on the week in and week out. I don't know if I'd want to start him this week, as he is the most valuable option there for Cam Ward, and he's drawing Patrick Surtain this week. So I'd have to see some other options, but I might have to bite the bullet on not starting him this week.
All right. Fair enough. Touche. Yeah, that's fair. All right. Last one I got for you, Brant. Just even recently, this news came out. I'm all over this one. I know I said I wasn't going to be in front of you on it, but I already know your stance on it as well. The Bengals have come out and said that they're going to tailor their run scheme to what suits Chase Brown this year. Not are you on the hype train, but are you on the caboose, or are you in first class on the hype train, Chase Brown?
I'm moving up that train because I was definitely in the caboose. I was like, man, I had a trade out last year. I got a trade offer, and I beat myself up after seeing it. Me and this guy, I think we talk once a year about a trade in our dynasty league, and he almost got a heck of a one this year. But last year he offered me Chase Brown, and I beat myself up. I'm moving up that train. I do think he is a very valuable option, and I do think that the Bengals have to learn how to milk the clock a little bit. We can't just air the ball out 20,000 times a game. So
T. Higgins and Jamar Chase owners do not want to hear you say that.
They're going to have to slow it down. They're still going to hang up points. They still have a very phenomenal offense, but I do think Chase Brown is I'm moving up that train. I'm not quite in first class, but I'm no longer in the caboose here.
Yeah, I think at this point, Brand, I might be helping drive the train. I might be up there hanging out with the engineer. At one point this offseason, I tried to trade Chase Brown for the 104 in a rookie draft in a league where I own him. And, that trade got sat on by an inactive member in the league. And, I came to my senses. I started looking into it a little bit more. I pulled that trade, thankfully, before it ever got accepted or noticed. But I've declined some pretty big offers since in that same league, where I've had 2 firsts in the next couple years come up being offered to me. I had Kenneth Walker in a first offered to me for Chase Brown. So I'm turning down just about everything for him right now. I mean, obviously, if somebody was like, "Hey, man, here's Bijan, see you later, Chase who?" But yes, at this point, I'm all in on Chase Brown, Brant.
Well, if you remember my hot take, he's got to
I
finish in
do.
the top 3.
I do. I remember. All right, so that does that for the little hype train game I wanted to play with you this week, Brant. We do still have the most important part of the show to talk about. Are you ready to do these underdog plays for this week?
Absolutely. It's one of my favorite things because I'm kind of a degenerate.
All right, let's get into it. All right, Brent, start with your first one, and then we'll go back and forth until we get them done here.
So I'm going to have to bring up the one thing that we do also go over on Sunday is our favorite TD scores. And I'm taking Saquon Barkley higher than a half of a rushing or receiving touchdown. So I am going to take Saquon Barkley to score. There's also a nice free play there on underdog for a lot of places with a half a yard higher or lower for Saquon Barkley. I definitely would take that. And then my next one is
we're gonna go back. We're gonna go back and forth here. We're gonna go back and
forth. Okay. I thought one of my whole play.
No, it's perfect too, Brant, because you started with a touchdown score. I'm starting with a touchdown score who is not your touchdown score. It's perfect. I'm taking Jalen Hurts higher than half of a rush/reception touchdown. They do put the receiving note on there, so just in case there's another Philly special, But listen, the tush push got voted on this year. It was not, banned, as a lot of people speculated when the Green Bay Packers were leading that charge to get that banned after getting beat by it twice last season. And it's back. I think you're going to see that week 1. I think it's going to be a thing that happens. Jalen Hurts gets in the end zone and scores a touchdown tomorrow night.
Okay. Well, if both of those guys are scoring, then this guy's going to have to score. I have Dak Prescott to go higher than 1.5 passing touchdowns because they can't run the ball. So he's going to throw it. Ferguson's probably going to catch one of them. And then, we'll find out who gets the other one, probably CD Lamb. I'm not calling both of those to score, but I am taking Dak for higher than 1.5 TD passes.
Oh, well, since you brought up Dak Prescott and his throwing, and then you mentioned CD Lamb probably catching one, I'm going to say CD Lamb has higher than 6.5 receptions. The Philadelphia secondary does not scare me that much, specifically not against a guy like CD Lamb. And again, as much as I'm down on George Pickens, him being in town should free up CD Lamb a little bit. I've got CD Lamb higher than 6.5 receptions. I'm thinking he gets 15 targets week 1, Brant. And if he comes down with just half of those, we're in business.
Well, I'm glad that I broke down 4 for our three plays because my fourth one was CD. When I originally put it in, it was 5.5. It went up earlier today. So I do believe he goes over 6.5 as well. So my last one this is Thursday and Friday. My third one is Dicker, the kicker, to go higher than 6.5 kicking points on Friday night.
We're sprinkling cheese on top of a kicker to start the season off. You heard it here
it's
first.
6.5 points. All he's got to do is score 2 field goals and then a touchdown, and he's over. Or he's higher than it. I think it's too easy.
All right. Well, again, you did it. I'm going to do it. Lad McConkey has higher than 5.5 receptions Friday night. I don't know why I want to keep putting that in week 2. Probably because I'm just so excited that this week's start of football that I'm going to blink and miss it. But yeah, I think the Chargers are going to have to pass in this contest as well. I do think Hampton's going to be good. Najee's going to play. But Ladd earned himself the right to be that focal point of that offense this season after what he did last year. I think he gets plenty of targets in this contest. Trent McDuffie does scare me a little bit, but I don't think he'll follow Ladd into the slot. So I think Ladd's the key to success for the Los Angeles Chargers in this one, Brand.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I like that. I do like Ladd McConkey. So I do think that wraps it up for us here on our last Wednesday before the season starts. It's here.
Eve, baby.
It is. It's Christmas Eve. We're here. Don't forget to join us Sunday morning. We'll be live for all your start sits. Like I said, like you said, if it rolls, we may end up hanging out with you guys a little longer than an hour. You just may have to watch two fat boys eat breakfast on screen. I know you guys got tired of watching me.
Nobody wants to see that.
I know you guys got tired of me slipping on my coffee, but it's here. I'm going to have my coffee on Sunday while being live with you guys. I promise I'll get out of my PJs and put on real people clothes, but join us live.
And we did decide not 9 to 10 Eastern time. Yes.
No,
sorry. You're right. 11 to 12 Eastern time.
Well, you got me waking up way too early now.
11 to 12 Eastern time,
yes.
10, 11 Central our time.
Yes.
Okay.
Join us live 10 to 11 Central time as we talk about our picks, or help you guys with your starts and sits, our plays of the week, touchdown scores, and the most important thing, food.
Absolutely. I wore my food-themed hat just for the occasion, Brant.
Absolutely. So that wraps it up. As always, stay hungry.
Stay fat, my friends.